Hello and welcome to Bags of Action. My name's Steve and this is a 5-minute review of The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. The version I am reviewing is from 2009, but there was an original version done in 1974 starring Walter Matthau, Robert Shaw, which is directed by Joseph Sargent. The 2009 version is directed by Tony Scott and stars Denzel Washington and John Travolta in the two lead roles. I haven't seen the original, so I can't compare it to that. All I can talk about is the 2009 version. To begin with, I thought the film was going to give me a bit of a headache. Having seen some of Tony Scott's other work, he likes to jump around a lot, and in particular with something like Man on Fire, that film was good, and then it got really frustrating for me with constantly having words and text appearing on screen in order to exaggerate a certain point, which I think was completely unnecessary. Once the credits settled down in this film, I'm glad that kind of quick cuts went away and it became a more traditional linear film with none of the strange jumping back and forth. The film has quite an unusual premise because a group of terrorists hold a New York train subway car and all of the people inside hostage. It's a bit of a strange target, to be sure, because they're not going after a bank or jewels or diamonds. We don't really know what they're after to begin with. And most of the action takes place on the subway car itself, but there's this ongoing conversation between the lead criminal called Ryder, played by John Travolta, and Denzel Washington's character called Walter Garber. And Garber is just somebody who works for the transit system in New York. So when the train first stops, he contacts the driver to find out what's going on and then finds out it's been grabbed by terrorists. And Ryder has an unusual fascination with Garber and wants to know who he is. You think they have something in common. So you have this strange two-way conversation between them over the radio. And when someone else tries to step in, a proper negotiator, Ryder starts to fly off the handle and won't deal with anybody else. So this forces Garber, who is not a policeman, is not a hostage negotiator or anything, to adapt to the situation and just do his best to save the people on the train. Because Ryder proves that he is serious and he already killed a couple of people to get his point. Then he makes a demand of the city saying they have to give him $10 million, and you think that's all there is to the film, and it's fairly straightforward. I won't spoil what some of the twists are in the film, but I really enjoyed this film and was not expecting some of what happened. The pace was quite relentless, it was unpredictable, the acting was really good, apart from, unfortunately, John Travolta, whose character has a right, I would say, to be upset given what happened to him. And as the film goes on, you find out more about him and, of course, Garber's situation, which has some parallels between the two of them. However, Travolta seems to have ratcheted everything he's doing up to 11 stupid, because there is swearing in the film, but his seems kind of out of place and really over the top for no apparent reason. I think the intention was for him to come across as menacing, and he does that very, very well, but there's this weird kind of jokey smile that he constantly has on his face that almost feels like he's winking to camera or he's about to break the fourth wall, which thankfully he never really does. Denzel, in the role of Garber, is committed. You believe that he's just an ordinary guy, been put into extraordinary circumstances, and he's trying to do his best to save the people on the train because he loves New York, and he has a family of his own and he wants to get home to them, but the situation has forced him into this and he can't walk away from it. There are a couple of real shocking moments in the film where I felt my jaw drop, which really made the film a lot more complicated and less straightforward than I expected it to be at the beginning. Having watched this version, I'm now curious to go back and see what the 1974 version is like, because I forgot to mention that the film is based upon a novel. So it would be interesting to compare and contrast the two films, if nothing else, to see how the approach has differed between the two adaptations. Generally, I was impressed with this film. I thought it was definitely worth watching and had some great action scenes, a lot of tension, and generally good acting. But I think Travolta was miscast in the role of Ryder. I had a couple of other minor niggles, so because of that, I'm going to give it a solid 3 bags out of 5. But I'd definitely say it's worth your time if you're in the mood for some exciting and tense action where you have to pay attention and you can't really doze off. Have you seen The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, the original or the 2009 version? If so, get in touch with us and let us know. You can email us, you can join the Facebook group. You can leave us a comment below, and of course please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.